Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 5, entitled The Demigods Appeal to the Lord, text 21. And I think we also read 22, huh? Okay. Aham bavuyu yamato suradayo. Aham bavuyu yamato suradayo. Manusya tiryak druma karma chataya. Manusya tiryak druma karma chataya. Yasya tavatarang sakala visharchita. Yasya avatarang sakala visharchita. Vrajama sarve sharanam tam avyayam. Vrajama sarve sharanam tam avyayam. Aham, I, Bhavaha, Lord Shiva, Yuyam, all of you demigods, Ato, as well as Asura Adhaya, demons and others, Manusha, the human beings, Tiryak, the animals, Druma, the trees and plants, Garma Chataya, as well as the insects and germs born from perspiration. Yasya, of whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Avatara, of the Purusha incarnation, Angsha, of his part and parcel, the Guna Avatara Brahma, Kala, of Brahma's sons, Visarchita, produced by the generation, Vrajama, we shall go, Sarve, all of us, Sharanam, unto the shelter, Tam, unto the Supreme, Avyayam, the inexhaustible. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Brahma said, I, Lord Shiva, all of you demigods, the demons, the living entities born of perspiration, the living beings born of X, the trees and plants sprouting from the earth, and the living entities born from embryos, all come from the Supreme Lord, from his incarnation of Rajaguna, Lord Brahma, the Guna Avatar, and from the great sages, Rishis, who are part of me. Let us therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of his lotus feet. Purport. Some creatures are born from embryos, some from perspiration, and some from seeds. In this way, all living entities emanate from the Guna Avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ultimately, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the shelter of all living entities. And we also read text 22. Na yasyavadyo na charakshaniyo no pekshaniyadaraniya pakshaha tattapi sarga stiti sanyamartaham dhati rajasattva tamansi kale. Translation: for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no one to be killed, no one to be protected, no one to be neglected, and no one to be worshipped, none unless for the sake of creation, maintenance, and annihilation according to the time. He accepts different forms as incarnations either in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, or the mode of ignorance. Purport. This verse explains that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal to everyone. This is confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad-Gita 9:29. Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshyosi na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhakta maite teshu chapyam. I envy no one, nor I'm partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also friend to him. Although the Lord is impartial, He gives special attention to His devotees. Therefore the Lord says in Bhagavad-Gita 4:8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principle of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. The Lord has nothing to do with anyone's protection or destruction, but for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world, He apparently has to act either in goodness, in passion, or in darkness. Actually, however, He is unaffected by these modes of material nature. He is the Supreme Lord of everyone. As a king sometimes punishes or rewards someone to maintain law and order, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although having nothing to do with the activities of this material world, sometimes appears as various incarnations according to time, place, and object. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalang Pangam Langite Girim Yat Kripadamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinadaranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatyadi Sadarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're here in the Canto 8, just starting to hear the description of the churning of the milk ocean. And as we have heard the other days, because the king of the demigods, Lord Indra, offended Durvas Muni, they lost all their power and blessings, and therefore they were defeated by the demons. So they all assembled Mount Sumerum, and they actually took shelter of Brahma. And yesterday we heard, upon seeing the demigods were bereft of all influence and strength, and that the three worlds were consequently devoid of auspiciousness, and upon seeing that the demigods were in an awkward position, whereas all the demons were flourishing, Lord Brahma, who is above all the demigods and who is most powerful, concentrated his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus being encouraged, he became bright-faced and spoke the demigods as follows. So Lord Brahma, because he's the head of all the demigods, they took shelter of him, but Brahma himself, he understands the Supreme Lord is Krishna, So he takes shelter of him, meditates about him, and just by thinking about the Lord's lotus feet, he becomes encouraged, and with a smile he starts to speak the following words, which we just heard today. So in text 21, Brahma basically says that all living entities, they are actually coming from the Lord. In different ways. Of course, Brahma, as a guna avatar, he creates the bodies of all the living entities, and from him also the rishis come, and the rishis, they procreate, and more living beings come in place. But at the end, the final place of shelter for everyone is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in text 22, then we hear how actually the Supreme Lord, he has nothing to do with this world. He has nothing to do with the protection of anyone, nor with the destruction of anyone. So in other words, the Lord is completely impartial. But then somehow it seems strange, because later on in the pastime we will see that actually the Lord favors the devas, isn't it? So how is that? So this question could come up: how is it that the Supreme Lord favors the demigods? So that means actually he's not really impartial. So the same question was raised at the beginning of the 7th canto, where King Parikshit inquired Shukadeva Goswami, how is it? Parikshit says, how is it, my dear Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, being everyone's well-wisher, is equal and extremely dear to everyone? How then did he become partial, like a common man, for the sake of Indra, and thus kill Indra's enemies? And Prabhupada in the purport says that although the Lord is supposed to be impartial, yet he took the side of Indra just like an ordinary friend. It seems that the Lord takes the side of Indra because, after all, the demigods, they are in his, we can say in his business, his company, they are his people. So therefore, the Lord favors Indra and the devas, one could think. And Shukadeva Goswami replies that this is a very excellent question you put before me, and then he answers in text 6. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is always transcendental to material qualities, and therefore he is called nirguna, or without qualities. And of course we understand without material qualities. Because he's unborn, he does not have a material body to be subjected to the attachment and hatred. Although the Lord is always above material existence, through his spiritual potency, he appeared and acted like an ordinary human being. So in other words, it appears as if the Lord acts as an ordinary person, but actually he's always transcendental. And then Shukadeva Goswami continues and says that actually the material qualities, the gunas, they can never touch the Lord. Because the Lord, after all, he controls the material qualities. Daivihi eshagunamai. He's the one who controls Maya. And Prakriti, the material nature, works under his order. So how is it that the Lord should be influenced by it? Because being partial, being a friend, means one is influenced by the gunas. But the Lord is impartial. He is not influenced by it. And sometimes people claim, like some commentators, like for example in Ramayana, some commentators of Ramayana, they claim that Sri Ram's acting as a kshatriya, when he appeared in the world, proves that the gunas are so strong that even when God comes into this world, he is forced to act under them. Some people claim. Of course, this is nonsense. How can the Lord be influenced? But they claim like this. But we understand that the Lord always remains in his transcendental position. He's never influenced by the gunas. And the example can be given just like a king who visits the prison house. This world is compared to a prison house. And the king or the prime minister might want to see how things are going on there, whether the security system is proper in place, where the imprisoned are taken care nicely. So he may go there and visit, but that doesn't mean that the king becomes an and criminal, but he just visits. So similarly, the Supreme Lord, when he comes into this world, he just pays a visit. He just comes, and he's never influenced by the gunas. And therefore, he's always impartial. And Srila Prabhupada, in his purport to text 22, quotes the shloka from Bhagavad-Gita, that I envy no one, and I'm equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. So that also seems kind of contradictory, isn't it? First, the Lord says, I'm impartial, everyone is equal, but my devotees, they are my friends. So, and Prabhupada in the purport to this Gita shloka says that actually it is very natural that any man in this material world might be very charitable disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. And of course, the Lord claims that he is the father of everyone, so he has a special interest in everyone. And Baladev Vidyabhushan, also the example is given there, that the Lord is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on a rock or on land or on water. Rain just pours the water everywhere. And then sometimes the trees, they absorb the water, and then they grow and produce fruits. But some of the trees, they produce very nice, juicy, sweet fruits, but other trees, they may produce very bitter fruits. Or some trees even have thorns. So, but is this the fault of the water, or the rain? No. So similarly, the Lord bestows his mercy to everyone, but then it's up to the living entities how they actually, in which mode of nature, in which gunas they're actually acting. So that's, therefore, Krishna nourishes everyone equally, but he's not, one cannot accuse him for being partial. And Baladev Vidyabhushan says that the first part of this Gita shloka actually describes the Lord in a mood of Paramatma. He says that standing forth and maintaining all kind of beings, I, the Lord of all, I'm equal. I'm just like a cloud pouring rain on all kind of seeds. Among these creatures, no one are my enemies, and none are especially dear to me. So that's the mood of the Paramatma. But then in the second part, when the Lord all of a sudden says that, but whoever renders service to me in devotion is a friend, that's actually the Lord in a mood as Bhagavan. Here there is a different mood. So as Bhagavan, as the Supreme Lord, as Krishna, he actually shows interest in his devotees. And he says that the devotees, they are in me, as a natural, as a result, the Lord is also in them. And therefore there is a loving, transcendental loving relationship. And because actually the devotees of the Lord, they are also on the transcendental platform, the pure devotees, they are on the transcendental platform, and the Lord also, and therefore this exchange, it has nothing to do with the gunas, has nothing to do with being partial or impartial, it is just a loving exchange between the devotee and the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada gives an amazing example also in the same purport to 929, where he says that when a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time the diamond is also glorified. So the Lord and a living entity eternally glitter, and when a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. So the diamond is most beautiful, that's the Supreme Lord, but gold is also very nice. So, but the combination is most beautiful. So the gold basically enhances the beauty of the diamond. And that's the beauty of the relationship between the relationship of the pure devotee and the Lord. And Prabhupada then says, living entities in pure state are called devotees. No? So on a pure stage, those who are actually having this kind of interaction. So therefore, this interaction between the Lord and his devotees is completely transcendental. And this loving relationship between the devotees and the Lord has nothing to do with the material world and the trigunas. And the devotees, they always see the Lord everywhere. And we see many examples also in the Shastras, how these devotees, when they see the Murti, they see directly the Supreme Lord. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath temple, what did he saw? He didn't saw actually Jagannath with big eyes, but actually he saw Shyamasundar, Krishna directly. So the pure devotees, they are able to interact with the Lord in a very personal mood. And this love which these devotees have, because of the love, they are able to actually interact and see the Lord so clearly. This love is what we also meant to be developing. That's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this pure love of God and to actually give it to everyone. And of course, this is a very high subject matter. And speaking about it, what to speak of trying to achieve pure love of God, one feels like a dwarf who tries to touch the moon. This example is given. So it seems to be very far away, a pure love of God. Because we understand this love is extremely exalted and extremely rare achieved, and it's very pure. That means completely selfless. So how can we ever attain this? But there is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this is our chance, because Mahaprabhu came to actually give that love to everyone. And therefore, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namna Gordvijana Maha. Srila Rupa Goswami glorified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the most magnificent, most merciful incarnation, because he's Prem Purushottam. He came specifically to give this love to everyone. And while in our studies, I'm studying at the Vrindavan Institute, and at the moment we are studying the 3rd canto, and there in the 8th chapter, Brahma offers wonderful prayers to the Lord, and then in reply the Lord gives many blessings to Brahma, and then at the end he also gives some instructions. And he says that Aham atmatmanam dhatha preshtaha san prayasham api ato mai ratim kuryat dehadir yat krite priyaha. I am the super soul of every individual. I am the supreme director of the dearest and the dearest. People are wrongly attached to the gross and subtle bodies, but they should be attached to me only. So it's quite an amazing text. Krishna says, actually, everyone should be attached to me. So here, Krishna clearly says that actually, I'm the object of love. But what happens usually, because as a conditioned soul in this material world, we identify ourselves with the body, and then we develop our love to other bodies, to our own, first of all, our own body. We ourselves are most dear to us, and then we extend this love. We develop some love to other bodies who may give pleasure to our body. In this way, we extend our love. But Prabhupada gives the example in the purport. But as soon as the real living entity is out of the body, even the body of the most dear son is no longer attractive. Quite amazing statement. No? We may have a very loving relationship to someone, and the person is very dear to us, and we love the person so much, but if that person dies, that means the actual person actually leaves, then the body which remains back doesn't have any value. So that means the true relationship was actually to the spiritual person, and the source of all that spiritual persons is actually the Supreme Person. And therefore, the eternal, loving relationship is only possible with Krishna. And Prabhupada says, because the living entities are also parts of the whole living entity, that supreme living entity is the factual basis of attraction for all. He is actually the object of love. One who has forgotten this basic principle of his love for everything has only flickering love because he is in Maya. the more one is affected by the principle of Maya, the more he is detached from the basic principle of love. So the more one is in Maya, the more one is actually far away from true love. One cannot factually love anything unless he is fully developed in a loving service of the Lord. That's a very actually unique understanding which in our tradition is very much stressed, that if you want to love anyone, first you love God. Usually in other religion, they always say you can show your love by loving others. And of course, that's also there. Everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. And a Vaishnava feels compassion, and he shows compassion by helping others. But to actually show true love is only possible if that person, if I am connected with the source of love. And therefore, in Bhagavad culture, the stress is very much given to develop that connection, that relationship with Krishna. And only one who is connected with the source of love can actually love others. And Prabhupada continues, he says, in the present verse, stress is given to focusing love upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word kuryat is significant here. This means one must have it. It's not something, yeah, it would be nice. No, yes, it would be nice to have pure love of God. It would be nice, isn't it? But no, actually, one must have it. It's a requirement. It is the supreme goal. It's what we actually try to achieve. It is just to stress that we must have more and more attachment to the principle of love. We must have it. We must develop this love. And in the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, Mahaprabhu himself, by his own example, he showed the highest forms of love of God, and he also preached about it. And there is a beautiful passage in the Chaitanya Mangala by Lochandas Thakur, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just before he leaves his home, just before he takes sannyas, he speaks to his mother, Sachimata, and he delivers some teaching to her. And in these teachings, Prema dhan, the wealth of pure love of God, is very much stressed. Kinari purusho ara keva kara pati Shri Krishna charana vinu ara nahi gati se pitta se matta se bandhu chana se harta se karta se matradhana putra sneha karamore yata bada bhava Shri Krishna charane hoile kata hoit laba. So Mahaprabhu says, who is really one's husband? Who is one's wife? One may be a male or a female, but the lotus feet of Krishna is the only true relationship. Krishna is the only true object of love. It's the only true relationship we actually have. Krishna is the only father, mother, and friend. Only he is a doer. He is the only wealth. He is everything. And then Mahaprabhu says, you have developed affection toward me as a son, but if you develop the same affection under the lotus feet of Krishna, then just imagine what you would get. Of course, in some way it's quite ironically, because actually Sachimata did the right thing. She developed attraction to the lotus feet of Krishna in the form of Mahaprabhu. But because Mahaprabhu, he is Bhakta Rupa, always in a mood of a devotee, he never identifies himself as God. So he says, you did a mistake. You became so attached to me, but actually you should develop your love for Krishna. Then you would get real benefit. He says, one who has established my relationship with Krishna, he is my friend, supreme friend, my mother and father. He is Guru. So Guru is the person who helps me to develop that relationship with Krishna. Giving up the attitude of thinking me, your son, think of Krishna as your son. Establish your relationship with Krishna and do bhajan at his lotus feet. Then you will be delivered, and I also will be delivered. So please do like this. Don't be so much, worried. Don't be so much sad that I'm leaving, that I'm taking sannyas. Just worship Krishna. And then he continues. He says, an ordinary son will only earn some money, and he will bring maybe some silver, some gold. He will bring some money so that the family will be maintained. When he goes and takes sannyas, he will maybe give something to maintain the family. But he will have, by hook or crook, he has to obtain money, and maybe he also will commit so many sinful activities. And then you will enjoy that money, and that will just drag you down to hell. So what is the use of this mundane wealth? But I, Ami Anadiya Krishna Prema Hena Dana, Shakala Sampada Maya Krishna Racharan. An ordinary son brings only mundane wealth. I am going to bring the wealth of Prayojan Siddhi, the ultimate goal, Krishna Prema Hena Dhana. Krishna is the real treasure. So why are you crying? I'm taking sannyas, but I will bring you the most valuable gift of pure love of God. This is what I will bring you. And then Mahaprabhu concludes that in every life one gets a father and mother. Rarely, however, does one obtain Guru and Krishna. So here Mahaprabhu stresses the importance of developing pure love of God. And as we have heard in this text, Kuryat means that one must have it. It's very important to develop this love for Krishna. Of course, as we mentioned, it is a very high goal, and we may wonder how can we ever achieve it, but it's important to hear about and understand that this is actually our goal. In Gita-vali, Bhakti-yoga Thakur has a beautiful analogy in this regard, where also the importance of developing love for Krishna is emphasized. Priti Sachidananda Rupa Vartirari Dhaya Dhama Adiguna Alankar Sapatara. Love for God is eternally full of knowledge and full of bliss, and it's just like a beautiful woman. So that's analogy. Love of God is compared to a beautiful woman. Compassion, religiosity, and other such exalted qualities are her ornaments. So beautiful woman has many ornaments. These ornaments are other good qualities. Spiritual knowledge is her fine silk cloth. Sari, beautiful, colorful sari. That's the spiritual knowledge. It's an interesting meditation, no? So next time if the brahmachari see a beautiful girl, you can meditate. Such a nice sari, okay, that's spiritual knowledge. Ornaments, that's other good qualities, compassion. Absorbed in devotional service is the fragrance of her body. The beautiful smell is coming, so that's the fragrance, that's the absorption in devotion. Being adored with these attributes, the chaste woman she's the heart of Krishna. So that kind of woman, that love, attracts the attention of Krishna. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Rupa viha alankare kina sobha e sangsara. Without beauty, what would be the use of so much jewelry for a woman in this world? If a woman is not so beautiful, even if she puts a lot of jewelry, it doesn't help so much. Okay, a little bit, but not so much. So similarly, one who has no love for God, he may have many other good qualities, but if he doesn't have love, then what's the use? And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur takes it a step further. He says that Vana Rira Alankara, If a female monkey, and especially here in Vrindavan, we see many monkeys, female monkeys also. Imagine a female monkey is decorated with nice jewelry. It does not increase her beauty, okay? So imagine a monkey putting nice earrings and jewelries. Well, it's still a monkey, after all. You can't change that, it's a monkey. So it doesn't increase the beauty. So in the same way, no amount of good qualities make a person worthy of respect if he does not have love for Krishna, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Not worthy of respect. Of course, Trinada Pisamish, we respect everyone, but like truly respectable personality, truly a great personality, or a personality actually who attracts the attention of Krishna, is a person who has developed that love. So therefore, kuryat, one must have it. It is very essential to develop that love. I remember some years back, I was on a festival, and I wanted to see His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, who is a kind of a Shiksha Guru who has guided me from the very beginning of my Krishna consciousness. So I entered the room, and there were some devotees, there was a darshan, Maharaj gave darshan. And when I entered the room, Maharaj looked at me with a big smile, and he called out, "Oh Krishna Prema Rupa, when will you fall in love?" And I was like, I was not sure what I should say, and some thought went through my mind like, Maharaj, I'm a brahmachari, I'm quite okay like that. And then Maharaj continued his sentence, "Fall in love with Krishna. Oh, when will you fall in love with Krishna?" So I thought that's quite an interesting question, isn't it? When will the day come when we actually fall in love with Krishna? And of course, yeah, hard to say. It's still a long way to go. But it's good to ask ourselves how we are developing in our spiritual life. And we can start with small steps. We can start to meditate. What I'm doing, actually doing it, what is my intention? Is my intention really to please Krishna? Whatever we do, whatever service we do, whenever we do a service, then we should always meditate that actually this is meant for pleasing Krishna. And that can be a start to develop that relationship. And of course, we understand that finally pure love of God is already there. It's there in our heart. And it needs to be reawakened by the process of hearing and chanting, by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, that eternal relationship will more and more be awakened. And Shravanam Kirtanam means chanting the holy name, hearing the holy name, but it also means to hear in the association of devotees, from pure devotees, to hear about Krishna. And there's many examples, like Rukmini. She never saw Krishna, but she just heard about Krishna. Just by hearing about Krishna, she developed so much love that she wrote that love letter and became a queen of Krishna. So that shows the process of hearing, actually, because how can you love someone if you don't know anything about the person? No. From the very beginning in our Krishna consciousness, we are told that Krishna, we should love him and he's the object of love. But if we never get to know him, how can we develop love? How can we develop a relationship? So therefore we should be very eager to hear about him, to understand him, to get more knowledge, to understand what kind of person is he actually. And as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says that actually this Hari Kirtan and Hari Katha, they are going together. Like Radha and Krishna, they're always together. So we chant the holy name, Chappa, we chant in Sankirtan, but then also we should hear Hari Katha in the association of devotees. And how we will be able to do that? In the association, by the association of devotees in Sadhu Sangha. Because at the end of the day, Sadhu Sangha is the birthplace of bhakti. That's the place where bhakti actually develops. And maybe I can conclude with two texts also from the third canto, from Kapila Shiksha, where the Sadhu Sangha is stressed and where it is confirmed that in the association of devotees we may be able to develop this love. Prasangam macharam pasham atmana kavayo viduhu sa eva sadhushu krito mokshadvaram apavritaham. Every learned man knows very well that the greatest entanglement is attachment. Like attachment, that is what actually is entanglement for the spiritual soul. But that same attachment, when it's applied to the pure devotees, then actually moksha dvaram apavritam, it opens the door to liberation. And Prabhupada very interestingly says that attachment cannot be killed. Because we speak about very high subject matter, like developing love for God, but we may say, but I still have so much lust in my heart, there is so much attachments. So that's true, but that attachment cannot be killed, it only can be transferred. And if that attachment is transferred to the lotus feet of a pure devotee, then actually we are going in the right direction. And Kapiladev then summarizes basically the whole process of Krishna consciousness in text 25 of the 5th chapter. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkana rasayana kata tachyoshanat ashvapavarga vartmani sharatharadhir bhaktiranukramishati. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and very satisfying to the heart and to the ears and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation. Thereafter, he is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begins. So here basically we have everything. We associate with devotees, we develop attachment to the devotees, we hear from devotees, and by hearing, then we find some satisfaction in the heart. More and more we developed attraction towards Krishna, and in this way we more and more develop this attraction towards Krishna. So although we may still have many anarthas and we are very far away from this high goal, as we mentioned, just like a dwarf tries to touch the moon, but by continuing hearing and chanting, by associating with the devotees, someday we might be able to develop that love. So that loving relationship between the devotee and the Lord, this is something which takes place on a transcendental level, because Bhagavan, Bhakta and Bhakti, these three are eternal, they are transcendental, and therefore if the Lord engages in this loving relationship, that doesn't mean that he is partial. The Lord always remains impartial as Paramatma, but as the Supreme Lord, as Bhagavan, he actually relishes this loving relationship with his devotees. So here Lord Brahma speaks to the Devas and tells them that the Lord is impartial and that he actually is the supreme shelter. Let us therefore go to the Supreme Lord and take shelter of his lotus feet. All right, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We have 2 minutes left. If someone has a comment or a question. Yes.
We're going to find that in this portion of Srimad Bhagavatam, many interesting things will transpire. First, the demigods being first began to lose their opulence and their potency, and therefore immediately the asuras, or the demons, were there ready to usurp whatever they had. And in order to do this journey of devotion took place, and from this journey many good things manifested and also many
bad things
manifested. So these activities of the asuras and demigods
Sure.
not turn on CNN News and see what is happening because at the beginning of end of the Bhagavad-Gita with Krishna that the demigods stopped visiting or coming here to Earth. They would regularly come here. But now, how is Earth being represented in this continuous activities between the demigods and the asurs? So, is there any evidence, who is our representative there?
Any evidences like how the demons and demigods today are in a...
Yes, I mean, these activities...
Yeah, they are going on. They're going on now, right? Right. We don't know, yeah.
Yeah, so are we excluded from these activities?
Okay, are we excluded or how much we are maybe influenced by these activities? Well, I mean, this is a very interesting subject matter, and in Switzerland we have a devotee, his name is Atma Tattva, not the South Indian Atma Tattva, but Armin Risi, he's a Swiss, and he has written several books, and he analyzes how demons influencing nowadays. But as devotees, I personally feel it goes a bit into these conspiracy topics. You know, we never really know what's actually true and what's not true. So therefore, as devotees, I personally would suggest that we focus on what happened that time, on focusing on the pastimes of the Lord and the demons and demigods, what we hear from the Bhagavatam, and then try to understand what can we learn from that, because it is true, demons and demigods, they are still active nowadays, but the most amazing thing is that the demons and demigods are still active in my own heart. That's the most interesting thing, that actually demonic qualities are already there in my own heart, and there is a battle going on. So instead of trying to understand how the influence is there in the world, I rather try to understand what demonic qualities are in my heart, and then by understanding this, trying to progress in my own spiritual life. But of course, there are devotees, they have some knowledge, they have some understanding what's going on, and they could answer your question more probably, but from my side I would leave it with that. Thank you. All right, I think it's time, yeah.
So, the first time, like someone once they should explain. So first time says the mode of Dharma, and second time reflects the mode of Bhagavan. So like in 9th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, we have like in the 4th verse of Shloka. So like similar controversy, right? By me, my unmanifested form, this entire universe is covered. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So like many controversies are there. So in those scenarios, we need to understand one more reflect the mode of the like Brahma Jyoti, Karma, and the other reflect the Bhagavan. So could you explain, is it true to think that way?
Okay, so there we find other controversies in also in the Bhagavad-Gita. Yes, that's there. It might take another lecture to go into all the details, but it's true. We also find in Bhagavatam, the Lord, although he's unborn, he takes birth. Although he even feared personified, is afraid of him, but the Lord runs away from Mother Yashoda when she comes with a stick. The Lord is Atmaram. In himself, he's satisfied, but he enjoys with 16,108 queens. You know, he is all knowledgeable, but still in Dwarka, he asked Uddhava for advice. So we find many controversies in the character of Krishna. That's why it's not so easy to understand Krishna. And that's why it says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yuveti tattvadaha. Those who understand that my activities, my birth, my activities, that they are transcendental. If you actually understand it in tattva, then you're a liberated soul. Then you will not take birth again. So therefore, it's not so easy to understand properly the activities of Krishna. But that's why we have daily Bhagavatam class. And your question might be answered in another class by some senior devotees who can explain it more better. Because time is over, I don't want to go over time. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.